And inside the Lord's Prayer, so
Hey,
Jesus tells you he teaches you how to
that doesn't matter.
live an
What
incredible
matters
life.
is that
So he teaches you how to
Obama
pray.
posted, I'm
So it's like you have a
currently also
relationship with
working on
Jesus.
a
Okay,
project plan
perfect.
for a client.
Well, who was
that I'm
Jesus
working
praying
on.
to? He was praying to the Father. Okay, well, so you prayed to the Father.
He's a client,
Okay, and
but
what did he
I've been
pray?
pre-selected, so
Father, thou
looking
art in
forward to,
heaven,
like, closing
hallowed be
that
thy name.
up
So
as
blessing
soon as
God
I
first.
give up the
Give us today our
project
daily
plan
bread.
in, like, a
So
few
just give me
days.
what I need. Everything else is abundance.
Trying to sort of get that done.
May your will be done on earth just
And
as it is in heaven.
then
So
by next week
whatever
I'll
your
probably
purpose
be
is,
starting on that project
let it be
as well.
manifested on earth.
And,
Forgive us as we forgive those that trespass against us. So God will give you in proportion to how you treat
so
others.
basically that is my
Jesus
plan right
teaches
now.
you how to live,
That's
teaches you how to
basically
pray.
I'm
My
working.
communication with God, my communication with what I believe to be the source of divinity is the request for discernment and wisdom. When you ask God for something, he'll give it to you because he says he'll give it to you. Knock and it shall be answered unto you. Seek and you shall find. It's not seek and maybe you will find. No, you will find. You may find something that you weren't looking for though. You may ask for patience and God may give you a really hard situation that'll teach you patience. He may not give you patience automatically. You may ask God for strength and he might put you through a really tough, tumultuous situation
I don't really
to help you develop strength. So God may give you what you want,
really
but not in the
have a
form that you
divine
ask
vision.
for it.
Which
is
I do
really
have a divine
interesting
vision,
because
but
God
the
tends
divine
to work
vision
that
isn't
way.
really like
But in the
a god or
pain, we're
anything.
carved.
It's
In the
a vision of
success
myself
and in the
future.
pleasure,
That
we
is
tend
my
to get
divine
arrogant.
vision.
We tend to
That
get
is who I pray to when I pray.
blinded. So my relationship with God was one where I surrendered myself to the idea of truth. I had a conversation with God once, and this is when my life changed completely. I said, God,
I guess I'm
today
also
surrender
like kind of
everything
saying
to you.
this, like
My
when
relationships,
I'm saying this,
my
I'm
business,
also
my
proving
money,
that I don't
myself,
feel like
my
the person
mindset, my
yet.
belief system,
But
for
the person is so
pursuit of
different
truth.
from like who I am right now.
If you show me truth, I promise you,
They
I will
have
follow
like so
it.
many accomplishments, like they have so much
And if
impact.
you follow
in
the
world.
truth continues to show itself to you. To
like
whom much
I
is
am
given, much is required.
consistently
So if
trying
God's going to
to
give you a lot of
become that
resources,
person, like, every
talent,
single day.
he's going to expect
Like
a lot
whenever
from that.
I meet difficulties,
So you have to develop into
I
those
ask
things.
myself, very quietly, like,
And then
is
God
this-
starts giving
is
you
this what-
things.
is
And then
this
you
what
begin
that
to
person was
read
doing?
people like Solomon when he talks about
And
Lamentations
most
in the
times
book of
it's a
Lamentations
no,
that
it's a big no.
everything is a vanity. Vanity of vanities. He has 1,000 women. He has palaces. He has kingdoms. He says it's not worth it. Okay?
And I try to
And in
do
the book of
like, my
Ecclesiastes,
best
it
every
says from
single
dust
time.
to dust. You came from the dust, you will go back to the dust. The king
So
is
this
the
is
same
really interesting
skeletal
to, like,
build
hear.
out than the peasant. It doesn't really matter.
This guy
So you begin to listen to
rarely
the wisdom.
posts, but
And then
he's very smart about it. Whenever he
you begin
shows
to
up, it's
understand
always on other people's videos.
the words of Jesus, where he says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So everybody says, do you believe in God? No. Because Jesus doesn't say, believe and you will be free. It says, know the truth. And what does Jesus say that he is? The way, the truth, and the life. So if he's the truth, following him will lead to freedom. So if I believe that to be true, then the job is to be a follower of Jesus. And by following Jesus, you obtain freedom. And following means following. It doesn't mean you do what you want 82% of the time, and then 18% of the time, Jesus is a lucky charm that you tap into for good benevolence and luck. It doesn't work that way because God isn't a luck charm. It doesn't work that way.
When we touch here, maybe just try this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that feels nice. Yep, that's good. So just do that because it feels comforting. Because when you were a baby, your mother held you in her arms and she touched you here and it hardwired you.
And then it's understanding that the rain falls on the just and the unjust. What this means is that good times and good situations and bad times and bad situations don't just happen to good or bad people. Everybody experiences pain. Everybody experiences good things in life. But inside of these experiences, your goal is to not lose yourself. People pursue money, they gain all these things, But what does a man gain, right? Or what does a man profit if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul in the process? Gains nothing. He lost the game. He missed the point.
Yeah.
He missed the point. So when I think about wisdom, I think about Jesus. I think about how he treats people. I think about how he treats women in a time where women were disdained, were thought of as property, where he talks about, looking upon another woman that isn't your own is just as bad as adultery. Being angry at your neighbor is just as bad as murder. So he sets a completely new standard for what it means to achieve excellence. And he says, hey, you know what? You can't do it. So how do you do it? And then you begin to read what the development of the spiritual journey is. And there's something that one encounters known as the fruits of the Spirit. You often hear the comment, like, you shall know them by their fruits, or you shall know them by their actions. Actions speak louder than what?
Words.
Correct. So by the actions, you will see what they are. A lemon tree cannot produce apples because it would be an apple tree. So it doesn't matter how many times the lemon tree identifies as an apple tree. If it produces lemons, it's a lemon tree. So if you call yourself a Christian, it doesn't matter what you say. What does your life reflect? If you call yourself a follower of Jesus, it doesn't matter what you say. What does your life reflect? And it's all about
This guy is really on point.
the fruits, the results. Faith without works is dead. Talk about faith in action. But there's these fruits of the Spirit. So it's like, okay, well, you have this transformation. You're becoming a better person. You're getting closer to God, which makes you, develops you and takes out all the toxicity inside of you. And you begin to hear about what are these fruits. Fruits are, we're talking about these manifestations that come out. And you have something called the fruit of the Spirit. Galatians chapter 5, verse 22. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith, gentleness, self-control. These are the things that come, that naturally are birthed, right? The good things are birthed from a relationship with God, not from forced. So when people are like, oh, you have to work hard to be a good person. No. You have to be transformed, like Jesus says, and like Paul talks about in the New Testament, by the renewal of your mind. You're not transformed by going to church and listening to the pastor talk to you about what God says. No. You're transformed by the renewal of your mind. So by renewing your mind, you get transformed. How do you renew your mind? Wisdom. What is wisdom? Knowledge put into practice. Concepts manifested in the three-dimensional realm into action that determines whether you took the intelligence or the knowledge and you applied it towards giving you a better outcome in life. And when you apply wisdom, then the outcome, the reverberating effect or the echo or the feedback is truth.
Yeah.
And you get to decipher whether something is real or not. It's called the scientific method. Science is the exploration of truth. The scientific method is what? Observation, hypothesis, thesis, analysis, testing, cross-testing, and coming down to a conclusion, and then optimizing. That's what we do with truth. It's the process of the scientific method. Science is one of the most spiritual things in the world. It's a combination of understanding that we're just pursuing truth.
Science
and you
was
talk about
based on the foundations of spirituality.
whether it's
Like the first scientists, they were
theology, whether it's
were worshipping just a different god.
with philosophy. Like, what is Philos? What is philosophy? People talk, you see all these philosophy
You
channels.
really think about it like
Well, what is Philos? Philosophy.
if you,
Philos
boil
means wisdom.
down these sort of paradigms. that
Philosophy
people
is
live
the
in
study of wisdom.
As sort of
How do you study
people
wisdom?
worshipping certain archetypes, then
How?
everyone is in
That
some
needs to be
kind
discovered.
of religion.
Because if wisdom
Religion
is
is
what
just a
inclines
set
you
of
towards better
practices.
choices in life, then the pursuit isn't to make better
under
choices.
like
The
a
pursuit is to
community.
find what? Wisdom
bunch of
that will
people
change you
do
from the
certain
inside out.
practices, that is
And
their
that
religion.
manifestation and that change will
It
reflect
has
into a new
nothing to
life.
do with the divine.
Beautifully said. What music do you think is demonic? And
What
what
the
music do you listen to now?
Okay, now let me pause. And that was like probably the worst moment to pause it at. But yeah, I don't even know what he said in that last moment. I think it's pretty cool though. Luke Belma is very interesting to me because like what I know about him is the fact that he's building an app right now. Alright, the app is called Candle. He's like one of the major stakeholders for Candle. He's got another stakeholder. The guy's name is Moritz. I know Moritz because I follow his content as well. guy who grew up in Cape Town or whatever, South African. Very cool guy, making content right now. Also showing up in podcasts left, right, and center. Right? Obviously, he's doing it on purpose to spread his reach online. But that's not really the point. The point is like Luke Belma's strategy for how he's building his online presence is kind of insane. Like he rarely, because like there was a time where he was posting content, but he stopped. Now like he's building a whole profile based on like mysterious, like being mysterious. Like he's this mysterious billionaire who's worth he's millionaire who's worth like tens of millions, and now he's investing in this app called Candle that's probably going to, I'm not going to say upend, but I'm going to say like it's going to change the way people consume content in Web3. Because like that was already like Pump.fun was already kind of like taking over that kind of scene. But now like Candle might be like a different kind of experience for people who like are in Luke Belma's space especially. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's actually developing. I don't even know if they've launched it yet. It would be interesting to see. But yeah, like I'm starting to recognize a trend here. It's like people, they learn a skill, they build presence online, they sell their information, right? So he has a community. It's a high ticket community called it's called CC. I'm not entirely sure. Capital Club, that's it. So but that's basically like an info product mashed in with sort of him giving people knowledge and stuff. So and then they build software. Like that's always just been the case. Like it's always just like learn a skill, market yourself online, find clients, or maybe build products like info products, and then sort of and then go on and move on to building software. It's so simple when you think about it. Like it's a really simple thing. I'm just wondering if this is like all to it. Like, can it be simpler? Like, is there a step you can skip? Is there something you don't have to do? That's my question. Because I don't want to do things I don't have to do. That's like the one thing, like the main thing that is occupying my mind like all the time. Is, am I doing the right things? And is there ever something that I don't have to do at any moment in time? I don't want to yap too long. Yeah, Luke Palmer, I'm sorry for like pausing it like right here when it looked like you were about to have a seizure, but it is what it is, bro. Like I guess this was your opportunity to just look like this for some reason. But I don't even think you care anymore, because like there's so many people who talk shit about like online, like people who are present online. So you probably get like shit talked a lot, so you don't even care. And it's kind of funny because like now I'm having a conversation with a version of you I'm seeing on a screen. I guess that's what like kind of these new age relationships are sort of like building up. So everyone having parasocial relationships with each other, whether it's online or in person. I'm starting to think now, like, is there ever a moment where relationships aren't parasocial? And that's just like a concept that I'm like kind of twirling around in my head. Let me not yap too much. Thank you for listening and watching. This has been me growing my business online. I didn't even talk about my business today. I haven't been talking about my business. I swear I will, maybe next week. But right now I'm like super swamped. But yeah, this has been me building my business online. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, which is probably tomorrow.